Hello, everybody. Welcome back to High School Sportsline. Frank Wolf from WNYathletics.com is here, taking you through another good interview. Today we've got Jeff Helmbecht, the head coach from West Seneca West Baseball. He'll be joining me. A lot of news coming out of New York State yesterday. The public high school had that executive board meeting. I talked to Mark DeFilippo today just to clear something up. You may have read in the newspaper today, the Buffalo News by Miguel. He said that the Harbor Center opted out of an optional year for that high school ice hockey bid. Um, it's not that they don't want it; they do want it, but where hockey had been hosted for the state championships in years past was in Utica, and you know we had the Harbor Center, and they really wanted to bring it to Buffalo, and we've done an excellent job. Section 6 has done a fantastic job with the hockey championships the last 5 years, I believe, that they've had them here. And they want to rebid because Utica had made so many upgrades, and it looks extremely attractive, that Section 6 is being proactive. They want to reassess their bid, take a look at it, and make it look more presentable to those that make that final decision. So in an effort to keep it here, not lose it. So that's what they're going to do. Kenmore West is going to get the gymnastics championship starting in 2022, and that's for 2022, 2023, and 2024. 3-year commitments. So that's awesome. Just to let you know, we've got some guests lined up for tomorrow. Joe Kraus, the professor, is going to be joining me. And then next week, I'm very, very excited to have Stu Boyer from Channel 2 here with us. Derek Anacino from Aquinas Section 5, storied football program out there. The head coach will be joining me on Tuesday. On Wednesday, I've got Glenn Graham, Cleve Hill, just a remarkable man. Love Glenn Graham. Thursday, Mark DeFilippo from Section 6, the ECIC Executive Director and Ice Hockey Chairman, and then Chris Watson from New York State Public High School will be dropping in. So those are my guests for tomorrow and next week. Hope you continue to join us. Thank you for watching. Here's a word from our sponsor. We have Scory Financial, UBMD, and GG Fitness to thank for helping us do this show. And then we're going to get to my interview with Jeff Helmbecht. Have a great day, everyone. Hey, it's Frank, WNY High School Sportsline. It's been a while since I've had a guest. So I figured I'd start off with, some top-level executive from Section 6, and that's Mr. Jeff Helmbecht, coach of the West Seneca West Indians. You also may see him on the basketball court as an official, and over the summertime, he's doing his thing with the Prospects Travel Club. So, Jeff, pleasure to have you. I've been friends a long time, and we haven't. I don't think I've had you on this show, but I know Tom Prince has done a few things with you.
Yes.
So I didn't want to steal his thunder, but it's good to have you on. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, Frank. Feeling optimistic, and things are looking up. So things are positive right now for us.
In celebration of having you on, I brought my old baseball hat out. St. Paul's Tigers. We've won 3 league championships, and we won one championship game. We're 1-3 in championship games, but we won three league titles, if you will.
Wait, how old is that hat? Because do you have do you have the name underneath the brim, or make sure no one takes it from you?
No, but I got my sweat. I still have my sweat.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
I haven't coached youth baseball in, I think, 3 seasons, and it's been a joy not coaching. I got to tell you, been able to watch all these other kids instead of just worrying about 12 to 13 kids of my own. I get to watch all of them now, and I've seen so much baseball. As a coach, they can tell you the Yankees are in first place, and you just have to believe them because you can't watch. You're so, all your time is eaten up by coaching. I don't know how many teams you coach. You just got to take people's word for it.
It's one of those things, like, you get caught up in your own busy daily life that, you may only catch that box score. I mean, the great thing about being a Yankees fan, I love the Yankees, is, having them on TV locally. So I love them. And
yeah,
it's easy to hit that record button and maybe get home and catch those big hits and those big plays that you like to see.
You're a Yankee fan. I know Prince is a Yankee fan. My brother's a Yankee fan. Everybody I know is a Yankee fan. Me, I'm a Red Sox fan.
Are you a Red Sox hater or a Red Sox tolerator?
I mean, I can't hate on the Red Sox. You know, it's such a good rivalry. I mean, if you're a baseball guy, you love it. You love to see that intensity because, like, there's so many games during the season. So when you get that weekend Sox-Yanks series, and it's always on Sunday Night Baseball, so you get pretty pumped up for that because those guys know what's at stake. So, you know, that intensity, that level, you might not get out of the players for the, 100 and whatever games they play these days. So
It's just not the same. Like a Rays-Orioles game. Who's getting excited over that? Unless
tough right now.
someone's going for a record like 1,000th hit or 50 saves or something ridiculous. Who is watching that game?
Not many.
No.
I mean, we need those as a baseball guy. You need those teams in the league. It's more opportunity for everybody. But yeah, I mean, it is tough to get up for those types of games. But that Yanks Red Sox rivalry, I mean, that's one of the top rivalries in all professional sport.
What's the coolest baseball park you've ever been in?
See, my son's spoiled. Back in the day, we did all these travel tournaments, and we've had all these great experiences with all these other organizations. Man, I mean, I love Pittsburgh.
Is there one favorite one?
I love Pittsburgh. I love the setup of the
new stadium, not so much the old one.
The new one. So I was there a couple of years ago. The Yanks played, I think it was a weekend series. So I went down with a couple of the guys and yeah, I mean, I love that backdrop, but there are so many good ballparks in the league. I just enjoy it. It's one of those things that if you're a baseball guy, you're thinking, what ballpark can I hit up next? Or like we set up these tournaments for these kids all over the country. And the first thing you look at is when you book the tournament, is there a ball game going on that weekend? So like, all right, these guys, we're going to catch a game and have some fun, being in a tournament.
Yeah, I love going to baseball stadiums. I haven't been to enough of them, but my first baseball park was probably Exhibition Stadium or Tiger Stadium, one of the two.
Ooh, that's a
I love the old Tiger Stadium. Back then, I was a Yankee fan. Saw Dave Winfield smack 3 home runs in a doubleheader at Detroit one time with my brother, and that was awesome. But we used to go to Exhibition Stadium and then Cleveland Stadium. I've been to – it's not Jacobs Field. What's it called down there in Cleveland now? What do they call
Progressive,
that?
right?
Progressive Field?
Yeah.
So I've been on my way to what was then the Jake twice to see Wade Boggs, and both games were rained out.
Oh.
So I've never been in that stadium.
Yeah. But it's one of those things, like if you're a baseball guy, you love baseball, you're like, I'm going to hit that stadium. A couple years ago.
I've been to the old Cleveland Stadium. I've been there a bunch of times. Loved it.
It just has so much nostalgic. It's nostalgic when you go into an old ballpark. You're like, oh my God, this is great.
Absolutely. I love the old parks.
Amazing.
I lived in Annapolis, Maryland, so I would go up to Camden Yards as often as I could, go see the Nats. That's a nice stadium where the Nats play. But where the Nats play, I don't know if you've been there yet, but there's all this stuff going on outside, like in the ballpark. But like, I swear to God, they have like a PS4 setup for video games. I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
Go watch the game. What is wrong with you? If you bring your kids to a major league park to play video games, you're doing parenting wrong. I was going on. I was losing my mind.
It's
and
more
all
of
this stuff.
Entertainment these days. My son played Division I baseball at Coppin State, which is in Baltimore. So I go down for a weekend, and you can get a quick train down to DC, like 30 minutes. So you come out of the subway system out there in center field, it's just an all-out party, like a Bills tailgate before a baseball game. Just an awesome experience.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great place. I saw the Braves play there a few times, and the Cubs, Dodgers, and it's an NL team, which is great because I grew up in an AL territory, if you will, other than Pittsburgh being down there. But I saw all those NL teams that I dreamed about seeing. That was a great. I love Washington. I love where the Nats play. Fenway Park, to me, it's unbelievable. Never made it to Yankee Stadium, though, the new one or the old one.
Ooh,
That's embarrassing.
ooh.
As a baseball fan, I don't care if you like the Yankees or not, you got to go to the Bronx.
Yeah, the Bronx. Another good experience. Another good stuff.
We'll get there. I'm holding something came in today. I thought he was. That is why I reached out to you. There's this group on Facebook called 24/7 Collectibles, and so you buy like a spot. Like they'll have like 10 spots up for bid, and you pay $25 for a spot, and you can win cool stuff.
Yeah.
So there's one in Bill's Mafia has one called Certified Raz. My cousin does one called I forget what it's called. Certified Sports Breaks. Tom Prince is in there.
Yeah.
And I bid on this baseball. It's a Pete Rose retirement baseball from his retirement ceremony in Cincinnati. And for $25, I got this ball. I don't know what it's worth.
That's legit.
It's legit. I actually have a David Ortiz one. I won from some guy in overseas serving in the military. He does the same thing. He had all these Ortiz balls. And I won one. So that's on the way.
Hey.
And if you're a baseball fan, and you like the memorabilia, it's an opportunity to win cool baseballs, autograph bats, uniforms, pennants. Awesome. I love it, though. So hopefully I'll have some cool memorabilia.
Frank, I never win anything. So if I did anything, I would never win the baseball, probably.
I'll try winning something for you.
All right, thanks.
Who's your favorite player of all time?
I'm a Cal Ripken, George Brett, Jeter's up there. I mean, that Eddie Murray, that group, those guys, those are the guys. George Brett, my son's first name is after George Brett.
Wow.
So is Brett after George Brett, one of my favorites.
So when he hit that home run against the Yankees, I think it was a playoff game, and they called it back. What was going through your mind? Did you see that live?
I did not. Okay. But, I mean, it's put you in a tough spot. You like the player, but you're rooting for your team, so you got to go with your team. You know what I mean?
Do you think he had too much pine tar? I mean, it's legit. I mean, he had too much pine tar. It sucks.
I don't know. I seen some guys. I seen some guys in the local Muni league stretch that pine tar.
George Brett Juniors.
Yeah, George Brett Jr.
There were a bunch of George Brett Juniors and Billy Ripkins in that league.
Right.
But I hope they have some kind of league, some kind of baseball this year. Are you still a part of that by chance?
I
know you feed them players.
Yeah. I think our franchise took a little hiatus.
Okay.
Our Western New York Prospects baseball program expanded where it just kind of kills up a lot of my summer and committing to the guys that want to play summer ball. And we start at 10 years old. So that really has taken up a lot of my time. So I know that you can get college guys or guys that are done playing in the Muni League, but I guess my focus right now is developing kids and really pushing them to that next level. So the prospects have grown. I mean, I'm loving it. It keeps me busy as heck, but that kind of has been my focus with my time right now.
I got to tell you, when I hear a coach say my focus is developing these athletes, these players, that really, I mean, I love when I hear that.
Yeah, I mean,
I just don't think there's enough. For a long time, I didn't think there was enough of that. It was a rush to play these games. Let's quickly get to these tournaments. But what are you guys doing to prepare? Because I would see the scores. As a coach in a house league, I would have these coaches bring these travel teams to play us, and they'd kill us.
Right.
But then they go out of town or they go, down to Williamsport, and they would get crushed. And I'm like, you're picking on our house league team. I mean, what are you guys doing to get better? You're not getting any better playing my kid who he's the only pitcher I got. So I love when I hear coaches say they want to develop players.
Right. So one of our big things in the program is that development piece. And that takes buy-in from the parent, the player, and the coaching staff and whoever's training. So first you got to have everybody on board, like understanding what developing is, not just,
'Cause, you know, I mean, I think, you know, I think our franchise took a little hiatus. We started at 10 years old. So first you got to have everybody on board, like understanding what developing is, not just,
hey, we're going to go out there and win that game on Sunday afternoon against, you know, team X, you know what I mean? Without saying any teams, you know, like we're going to go out there, we're going to develop guys, we're going to talk about situations. Your kid might not play shortstop all 7 innings. You know, we may play 3 shortstops in a game, you know. So at the younger ages, I feel like a lot of the younger house teams, they slot guys, hey, you're the shortstop. And then that's it. The kid doesn't move all summer. Where, you know, again, we might play 3 shortstops. We may play some outfield. You know, at that younger age, you shouldn't be really slotting guys. And that's just kind of my opinion. And that's our philosophy. You know, you kind of lay that out at the beginning of in the winter when you have that initial meeting, like, this is what you should expect. This is what you shouldn't expect. And again, there's like that figure it out. Because like in the younger ages, some of the parents, it takes a year or so to understand like what's going on. But I think they kind of figure it out for the most part. So we're huge on developing guys.
I love what you say about moving players around. When I played Little League Baseball, we had our shortstop, we had our pitcher, we had our second baseman, we had our center fielder, and we had our catcher. And it was very rare that one of those kids would be moved into another position. If they weren't at that position, they came out of the game for like the last inning because we were up by so much or down by so much. But these kids were married to those spots, and you never got a chance to catch. You
Right.
never got a chance to play shortstop or third. And you know, is winning the emphasis here? Were these coaches, even at age 9, 10, 11, and 12, that fixated in winning as opposed to developing? Because if you took that shortstop and put him in left or right field and they hit, you know, a ball out to them, they wouldn't know the angle to take. And they often would drop it or totally misjudge it. And looking back, you could tell it's because this kid was so structured into playing shortstop, turning 2, you know, going, you know, to third or going home or whatever, never really understanding that there's more than one position on the field. And when you get to age 15, there might be 5 guys better than you at shortstop. And where are you going to go?
Exactly. I think it's one of those things, like, you're not going to put a guy that maybe doesn't have the arm strength to play shortstop.
Yes.
All right, we're not going to put that guy over there. You would say, look, you can't even get the throw over to first. But what we're saying is, like, if you have any of the athletic ability, we're going to give you a shot at short. We're going to put you in the outfield. And I think kids understand the game better when they play those spots. They understand the situations. Like, at the younger ages, you teach, where am I going with the ball when it's hit to me? That's huge. Like, what am I doing? If the ball's in the gap and I have to chase it down as the outfielder, where am I going with the ball? So I think it just overall gives them a better baseball IQ, like learning those positions. And then they understand it. They understand it better.
I couldn't agree more. Knowing how to react if a baseball's hit to you is better than just, you know, being in a place where you can't make the throw and you have no experience there. You have to learn what to do with that ball. You got to anticipate what's going to happen if the ball comes to you. You have to know where to go with it. And that's one of those fundamentals that I think is lost. And I love the fact that you're out there and many other coaches are taking the time to teach those fundamentals. You know, how are the parents today as opposed to say 5-6 years ago? Are they, and how, are the parents any different from travel to say high school? Is the mindset the same? And not all parents are like this, but I know from coaching that our house parents would sit on the sidelines and they'd be, you know, kind of take it as it goes. Where if we were playing a travel team, those parents were intense.
Right.
And they let the coach know every single thing that was going on, as if the coach didn't know. You know, hey, coach, that right fielder's too deep. He's too shallow.
Mm-hmm.
Where in my house, that's why I never could coach travel. House was fine. Coaches knew what they got with me. Limited ability, but he knows the game, and he's going to make sure your son or daughter is in the right spot, and we're going to give them the best chance. We're going to give the team the best chance to win, but at the same time, we're going to have fun. Kids are going to get equal playing time. Everyone's going to go up to bat. You play travel, though. A lot of those parents know the game well. but they all think they're coaching, and they're not supposed to be coaching. They're supposed to be just watch your kid play. You're paying us to coach your kid. Let us coach your kid.
Right.
Are they worse in high school, or are they worse in travel? I hate to put you on the spot.
No, you're not putting me on the spot. I mean, I think for the parent aspect, it's a understanding. It's a communication thing. With every single team, even the high school team, right out of the gate, we have an open communication with parents if they don't understand like what the situation is. I tend to lean on that 24-hour policy because sometimes you do have parents that get caught up and they understand it at the end of the day. But I think just the communication, like it's 2020, everybody can text you right away when they're like a knee-jerk reaction to maybe something that happened in the game. Their son didn't get an at-bat or whatever the case may be. But I think it's just that open line of communication. I talk about development, but at the end of the day, every team that I coach, whether it's travel, high school, it's competitive. I think we're getting away somewhat in our society as a whole, like being competitive, but all the teams are competitive. So a guy that works harder, comes in, listens, and absorbs is going to get more at-bats and more innings than the guy that doesn't work harder and doesn't absorb what we're doing. And, it's no mock on any player. Every player brings something different to the table, and that's what I tell the guys. But, typically the guy that works harder is the guy that plays more. And that's no hard feelings on anybody. I think just being honest. I give every kid my honest evaluation, whether it's a travel tryout where you're just coming out for my team or even the high school tryout. It's the same thing. Hey, look, maybe you should come back next year, work on this, and this, and I'll help you. I'll meet up with you or get you on a team that can get you developed for the summer that you come back next high school season and you make the team. It's one of those things that I feel like the more you play baseball and the more time you get in and you understand that you just get better. You just get better. So, the parents, it's just a communication thing. I'm big on communication.
I agree. I know before the start of all our seasons and even during the season, we would send out memos to parents. What can you expect from me? But what I expect from you. And that 24-hour rule is huge. What Jeff was saying is, you play Thursday night, something happens you don't like as a parent. Think about it, sleep on it for 24 hours. Why did the coach not put your son here? Or why did they move him to this position? Instead of jumping on the coach right away, maybe you didn't hear something that was said on the bench. Maybe something happened in practice that the coach said, you know what, I'm going to give you 3 innings here, but then you're getting pulled for that act or whatever that happened in practice, something you said or something, maybe a way you reacted to something on the bench just didn't sit well, and for it, we're gonna do this. We're gonna change. Maybe the son's injured and doesn't say anything to the parent, and that's why you move him. Or the kid's just he's struggling. Sometimes as a coach, you could see the kid struggling that the parent might not necessarily see.
I mean, that's the reason why you have a bench.
Exactly.
If you only carried 9 guys, then you would have less to figure out. But you carry guys with the intent that they're going to play at some point, they're going to get better, they're going to develop, and that they're going to get their opportunity. And that goes back to another thing is, the communication thing is, if I communicate with my players, they can go back and communicate with their parents. Like, this is my rationale. This is what I was thinking. And typically that ices any other conversation. When I say, hey, I didn't put you in that, I didn't give you that at bat for the situation didn't dictate itself. So, and he can go back and kind of relay that. And sometimes it gets miscommunicated or whatever. But again, I feel like it's the communication, big communication with parents. And I don't mind having those hard conversations. Sometimes, parents don't want to hear it. I was a parent once. I had my son going through, I understand. Sometimes I didn't want to hear it. But, I let Brett figure it out, and he went on to be successful, in my opinion. So I feel like I was doing the right thing, and I feel like I've taken that so much that I do with my coaching is what I live through my son, like how he came through and what things I seen and what things I didn't like, and kind of took all pieces and put it all together. And I feel like our blueprint has been pretty good so far.
So you're in that position where you have to call a player or tell a player he didn't make it. Are those the toughest discussions, the toughest conversations for you to have as a coach?
It's the worst thing to do as a head coach is to tell a player, hey, you didn't make the team for whatever reason. Because Frank, like when you went to school and I went to school, they put the list up and ran the other way.
Yep.
And I got cut from modified basketball, 7th and 8th grade basketball. And all my boys made it. I wasn't much of a baller. I'm a squatty 5'8" or whatever I am these days. I didn't make it, but I just remember that feeling as a 7th grader, putting up a sign and all your boys make the team and your name's not on it. You know what I mean? So like, I feel that as a coach, you owe it to the player to have the courage to try out for your team, to have the courage to have that hard conversation with some facts too. Like when I evaluate, I like to take notes. So when I talk to a player, I can say, hey, look, this is what you need to work on. This is how I graded you, and I have my own little grading sheet or whatever, but I like to have facts and tell them like, this is what you need to work on. And it's the worst thing. I hate when a kid walks away, because again, he had the courage to come and try out for the team. And I try to keep as many guys as we have, especially in the high school levels, as many as we have uniforms, because baseball is that game that, you could develop. You could be that. You might not be able to walk and chew gum, but you could hit the ball 400 feet. You know what I mean? So we got to find a spot for you. And if it takes that year to develop and as a coach, put you in a spot that put you in a successful position, that's my job. That's why I'm doing it. That's what makes me happy. When you watch a guy develop and just get so much better, that's awesome. That's like icing on the cake when you see kids be successful.
Yeah. I mean, nobody likes to get cut. I'm a victim. I've been cut before. Some of the worst phone call I ever got when I was 12 or 13, a house league team. Back in the day, you could be cut from a house league team, and I was.
Yeah.
Blessed Sacrament told Frank Wolf they didn't need him. That sucked. That was like the word. I'm like 12 years old, and what are you talking about? But it sucks. You never forget. Blessed Sacrament cut me when I was 12 years old, and I've never forgotten it. But you know what? You get on.
Yep.
You don't give up. I still play baseball. Hey, who's not cutting this year? I'm joining that team. But you have to have, some courage to go out for a team. And, I was cut from Kenmore West time and again for whatever sport I wanted to play. So what are you going to do? You go on with life. You have to tough it out. And I bet there's, I love the kid that gets cut his freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, but then senior year, he finally makes it. Those are my favorites. Those are the guys that never gave up, that kept on trying, and they listen to you. They listen to you. They got the feedback that said, hey, you're not hitting up to par. I can't count on you to come through with a hit when I need you to. This is what you need to work on. This is where you're weak. And that kid goes back and he works on it, and he just.
Yeah, I was a 3-sport guy in high school. So basketball was like my filler. Football and baseball were the other two. So that 7th grade year, I went home and my mom's like, why are you home? And I'm like, I got cut. She's like, oh, okay, get better.
That's
and
the
that's
best
it.
advice.
That's
the
it.
best advice.
So, true story, the guys were out so modified, and that's through the winter, or basketball's through the winter. I would go shovel a little spot and I worked on it, and I made it from there all the way up to my senior year. But I feel like it's just one of those things that as a head coach, I feel like you owe those guys an honest evaluation of, their talent and why you didn't take them.
Yeah, that's great advice. I'm glad you do that to give those kids an opportunity to say, hey, this is not the year for you, but if you come back and work on these, you'll have a shot, but this is where you got to get better. There's a number of kids that I coached at age 9, 10, 11 that were, the all-stars at that age, but I would tell them in practice, look, you can't get lazy right now. You might be the best player on the team right now. You may think you are, but that kid over there that you're ripping on, he's going to be just as good as you, if not better, in 3 years because he shows up for practice every day, goes through every drill, works hard, asks me for more. He wants more balls hit to him. He wants more swings at batting practice. He stays after practice, wants to work on. That kid you're making fun of is going to be better. And I cannot tell you some of those kids, I'm reading their names in the paper and on the websites that I remember as 10, 11 were, not really there yet. And the other kids that their names were, that kid's going to be a good one. He's going to be a superstar. They're not even playing baseball anymore.
Yeah, I mean, what you see a lot is, especially like in our summer program, you'll get a lot of people are like, oh, that kid wasn't good at XYZ Little League last year. He wasn't good. I'm like, okay, well, a couple of years in our program and he develops, I bet he'll be good. You know what I mean? Oh, we beat that team. Like, I see that a lot in baseball in Western New York. Oh, we beat the Western New York Prospects. It's baseball. It's one game. I feel like over time guys develop, and the more you play and the more they listen to our staffs, and our staffs are really good across the board, I feel like the player gets better. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he might have been good at 10, 11, 12, and then you have that big jump to the big field, which is an equalizer by a lot. You get some big teams that just plug home runs on the smaller field, and then on the bigger field, it's a pop-out. You know what I mean? So if you're not teaching drive the ball, line drives, hit line drives, next year that 200-foot home run, in Cooperstown is a pop-out. Thank you. We'll take it.
Absolutely. Jeff, obviously this pandemic really took on a life of its own, obviously. It ruined a lot of our plans for the spring, and now it's having it possibly could have a huge effect on what we want to do in the summer. You had a West Side of the West baseball team that was returning a number of good players. Schermerhorn was one of your, and Berkelman, Evan?
Yeah, Binkelman, yes, Evan Binkelman. Yes.
So you had a couple of really good players coming back. Reineck.
Yep. You might have heard of.
Play basketball over at
West. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. How about McAndrews? Griffin.
Another hockey guy.
Yep. Catcher.
Yes.
So you had a nucleus coming back that might have been able to compete. You would expect them to be able to compete.
I mean, this would have been my third season at West. I think the expectations have been the same. Coming in year one, made a good playoff run, got a little lucky. Year two, same thing. So I think year three, with some of the guys that I've had as sophomores, this would have been their senior year. So the expectations are always high. We play in a tough league, ECIC 1. I feel like it's the best division in Western New York, maybe next to the MMA, the Mount Senior Martin. All big schools. We're the smallest school size-wise. We're actually a single A school, plays a bunch of double A's. But all the coaches in our league, I have so much respect for them. They all do a great job. They have guys that play in the summer constantly. So they breed success. And anybody can beat anybody in our league. So I feel like, we play in that tough league. It preps us for that sectional run, and kind of we go from there. It's disappointing. We were so amped up. We did a lot of off-season stuff. some of the guys are playing a lot more in the summer. So for that to be taken away from these guys is really heartbreaking to me. First, that trip got canceled. If we play out that first week of practice, you can tell the tone of the practice and the season kind of went downhill fast, and it kept me up at night because at first the spring trip got canceled, so breaking that to the guys that worked hard, either earning money or fundraising, put all that hard work in, and then for the trip to be canceled really hurt. That's a chance for us to go down every year and figure out what we got. It's a short spring. So we go down there and kind of my goal as the head guy is, all right, where can we get these guys so when we go back, we can make that run and we can be successful. So at first we were like, oh, shoot, what do we do for that week? And my son, who's my assistant coach, is like, Dad, he's like, we even going to have a season. So, there was a lot of rumors, I didn't know myself. Maybe I was naive. I didn't want to believe it. I was like, look, we're just going to go on. We're going to keep practicing. We're going to keep working hard, and literally it was, hey, coach, see you later. See you tomorrow, to absolutely the season was over. It was just over, so then you regroup and you try to be optimistic. Like I said, I talked to all the coaches in our league, and we were trying to come up with all these contingencies. Hey, we start here, we can make this work, and then you kind of lose a little hope as it goes on, and then here we are. The seniors don't get to celebrate their senior day. The guys that work so hard over the off season don't get to go show out and show their pride for the school. Like I see both sides, working the travel and high school. Like, these guys take so much pride at West Seneca, and I'm sure every other school, playing for their school, like repping for their school. We use that phrase bleed blue in West Seneca, and it's true. And I didn't understand. I mean, I coached at Maritime. I've coached in Western New York, but when I took the job at West Seneca, it really taught me that these kids really have a lot of pride playing for their school. And that's everybody across the board. Even the summer guys talk about, they chirp each other about, hey, we're going to play. The guys on the summer team are going to play against each other. But there's something about that pride, about representing your school and your community.
And a lot of people don't realize how much baseball players put in the offseason because you don't see it. How often do you drive by the Eastern Hills Mall, walk through it, and see all those kids in there getting batting practice, or go by Hot Corners or one of these other locations, one of these other factories? There's a lot of work going on in the off season with these pitchers and fielding and just getting things to feel right and getting your swing and trying new things. And nobody really knows how much work goes in. And then all the fundraising to put into that trip to go to Florida or wherever you're going to go for spring training to get come. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not just getting on a plane. There's a lot of planning that goes into that. So it's absolutely heartbreaking what went on. And I'm at the point where it's like, I've read you read all the news, you see, you hear, you talk. I mean, now I'm under the belief that, you and I we're pretty healthy guys. Kids are the healthiest. I mean, my son is 5 years old. And if there was COVID virus on the floor, the kid could literally lick it up, pick it up, wipe it all over himself, and in 24 to 48 hours, he'll probably be fine. Right. You have to have an immune system to fight these things. And we've been inside for so long with not a lot of contact. I'm so worried now that people are going to come out and they're going to have no immune system and they're going to get sicker quicker and they're going to be sicker longer. Even if it's not COVID, it might just be some stupid flu that we normally get every year. And I'm just beside myself now. And, it's Jeff, I'd be lying if I started to say that, we might not be able to get this fall season underway, and it's really starting to piss me off.
Yeah.
We're even at this point because I think these kids, my wife and I, we're not teachers. We didn't go to school to become teachers. I have a business. My wife works full time. We cannot teach my son. That's what we pay taxes for, to send him to the best schools. We're not his teachers. So if the schools are saying you're not going back this fall, my wife and I cannot teach my son how to add 2 plus 2. We can't
Understood.
teach him the ABCs. We could try, but we got to get this kid back to school. And these kids are very resilient. They bounce back. My son went to daycare for the first 4 or 5 years of his life. Like I said, he could lick up a virus on the floor. He can roll around in it, and he's going to be fine in about a couple of hours, 24 to 48 hours, because his immune system is amazing. Now, I can understand, in your 50s, 60s, get a little worrisome. Absolutely, especially if you have pre-existing conditions. Then go lock yourself away. Protect yourself. But for everyone else, you have to be exposed to these things. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to fight them off. Vaccine or no vaccine. That's me going on
your little rant.
Yeah, that's my rant for the day. I can get away with it because I'm not being paid.
Right.
Someone might shut me off eventually, but they already do. But anyways, I'm going to be really annoyed if we don't have a fall season, if these kids don't go back to school and start interacting with each other. I'm worried that could happen. But now, I know you and Tom have got this committee going on, fighting with polling cars in the state to get these kids back into phase 2, at least practicing. So I'm hoping that's happening. I'm hoping you've got their ear. I haven't talked to Tom yet today to see what the latest is on that, or if they even acknowledged his letter. I know it's picking up some traction. A couple of news outlets have picked it up, but I don't know where that is and if they're really listening. I hope they are, Jeff. I hope that you guys have I hope you have the opportunity to coach some of these kids that would have played for your West Seneca West team. That's what I'm hoping for this summer, especially those seniors. One last opportunity to get in their ear,
I think from what I know is, and it was a coalition of Western New York baseball and softball guys that we basically got on a call and said, how can we do this safely? How can we get back to baseball safely and perform? It's one of those things that the government, and not to get it all political and stuff, the government has a lot of stuff going on. So I think we come up with a resolution that, hey, we can return to play baseball, play in a safe way, practice the social distancing, and be safe, So I think that's our goal. And I think the state will understand that we just want to get back and be active, more than anything. So yeah, I'm not sure where we're at, but like I said, there's a lot of guys behind it. There's a lot of Western New York behind it. And I think across the state, if you read the proposal, it's a slight way to it's a way to get back.
Yeah. So obviously we're paying a lot of attention to that and hoping that thing works out for the best for everybody. I could see travel teams leaving the state to go play in other areas where it's deemed safe to play. There's a lot of revenue that's going to be lost in this state due to not being able to have tournaments, if that's the case. I don't know how many have been canceled already. I got to believe most of them, if not all, have been canceled.
I think for the younger guys, they typically start in May. The 10, 11, 12. 13, you start talking about being on your modified team, or 14, up to the high school guys. So the younger guys did lose a little bit of steam, but I think we're hopeful. If we can get back here, maybe start working in small groups, being safe, doing what we're supposed to get that next call that, hey, you can start playing games. Because if you look at it from a baseball standpoint, you can't just jump on the field and start playing baseball. Especially, I know the high school guys been busy and they keep themselves busy working out. But for a younger guy, maybe he hasn't thrown a ball. Maybe the parents said, hey, we're just going to shut it down and wait and see what happens. You can't expect those kids to go out and practice right away. So that's kind of, we're hopeful. We're hopeful right now.
Did you coach your kid from a young age?
I did. It was tough. It was always always a tough situation. From a greedy standpoint, I feel like at the time, and Western New York baseball is evolved. It's changed so much. There's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of good programs out there that really do a lot of. They're not just the prospects. I mean, there's Full Circuit. There's the Thunderwolves. There's a lot of good programs that I have a lot of respect for those guys. So there's more opportunity right now. So at the time, there was really nothing going on. So from a greedy standpoint, I coached my own kid all the way through. It was tough at times, but it was one of those things. I had, a quick story is that I had Aaron Phillips on the team. Draft pick. He's with the Giants right now. Just the absolute joy to coach. But, his dad, I coached with Jerome, he wouldn't listen to Aaron, or Aaron wouldn't listen to Jerome, and Brett wouldn't listen to me. So thinking something, I would tell Jerome, I'd say, hey, look, tell Brett to do this. Hey, but 5 seconds before, my own kid would be like, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. And then vice versa. If Aaron needed something, hey, go talk to Aaron, and that was kind of like our dynamic coming through, which was great. But
yeah, you definitely need that. I mean, my struggle's real. My guy's only 5, but Jeff, he's at this point in his life, he's uncoachable.
Yeah, I mean, it's why we do what we do. It's why I do what I do in the summer. You have a lot of
refuses to listen to anything I say. How to throw a baseball, everything's got to be like this, like behind his back. That's right. The way he wants to throw everything. And then as far as, hitting off the tee, refuses. I got to pitch to him. He doesn't want to hit off the tee. He's too good to hit off the tee. He's not. So I already gave up on coaching him. So he's somebody else's problem now. He was supposed to start Lou Gehrig this year, T-ball. I don't know how that would have worked out. We have the tee in the backyard, and he refuses to hit off it. And when he does, he's got a good swing. He's got a nice little swing. He gets it from my brother. My brother had a pretty good swing, I will say that, growing up. But he gets it, whatever he has, he got from him, which I'm annoyed with because he probably could be a pretty good little ball player if he would just listen to his old man every now and again, but he refuses.
Toughest thing.
I'm going to send him over to a prospects camp.
That's perfect. Love that.
Got any training camps coming up? Anything going on at all like that, or is it too?
As soon as we get the clearance, we got a lot of stuff. We need to get that. We need somebody to ring the bell for us.
He might be able to do that probably a little too often though.
Right.
Now, when you're not coaching, I know you're doing some officiating. I see out there in the winter. Talk about how you got into officiating, and is that something you enjoy doing?
I love it. This past season was my 23rd year. Started right out of high school, and again, goes back to I was cut and modified, but I love basketball. I love the winter. I started in '96, learned from a lot of great officials, Benji Blumen, Mike Lonsky, Pete Caleri, Noe Nostrand, Mud McGrath, Jimmy Hutter, the who's who of basketball. Those guys kind of took me under their wing, as a young 20-year-old coming out of high school. And I really enjoyed it. It was tough younger with Brett doing all the stuff that he was, travel hockey and whatever. But now that he's done, I feel like I've been able to put in that more commitment to being a better official and giving back to Western New York basketball. I really take a lot of pride in officiating in the winter.
So I believe you're the third official we've had on. We've had Benji and then Mike O'Brien. And there's a call for officials. It's one of the reasons why I love bringing officials on, to kind of give them some more notoriety and a call for officials, if you will. And it doesn't matter if it's basketball, football, soccer. They didn't just throw you out there to the wolves. I mean, you had to go through the training, and they put you in with probably some of those youth leagues to make as many mistakes as you can and just learn the game and until you get up to speed. Is that the hardest part about becoming officials? A lot of these guys will come out, or girls will come out, and they'll expect to be doing those games at Buff State the next week.
Yeah. I mean, I think from a standpoint is you got to get better. You gotta work at it. It's a craft. The only way I got better is one, watching a lot of good officials that have mentored me over the years. I learned by watching. I just learned by watching. You have a good feel for the game, and I wish more people would officiate. Western New York IAABO Board 53 is great. Our organization is great. We have a lot of guys that are ref even higher level, college, Division I, what have you. We got guys in D3, but those guys are always willing to help you out. And you may get a younger official that'll reach out and say, Jeff, I had this weird play. What do you think? What did I rule correctly, or whatever the case? We have a really good rule interpreter, Mark Clifford, who knows the rules inside out. And I've hit him up multiple times. Halftime of a game, hey, get my cell phone. I got a question to ask him. I want to make sure I got this right. But our organization is strong, but the lack of officials is coming. Guys see the abrasive approach by some parents. Not coaches so much. I feel like there's a lot of respect, and you earn that respect as a veteran official. But you go out there, you earn your keep, and you just get better. That's all.
Well, hopefully, we'll lead some new officials your way. I think it's one of those ways you can give back. And you get paid to do it too. It's not like you're just giving up time. You're being rewarded for it. But I mean, if you know the game and you want to stay in shape and you want to be around the game, what better way than being an official? And at some point, you're going to deal with that parent. You're going to deal with it, but just block it out. He's not there.
I feel like you get a good fee for. Now, do I want to go? I'm an Orchard Park guy. Do I, mind going to Wilson on a Tuesday night? No. Guys in the organization that know me, that they see me open, they know I'll go there. And I think that's kind of how you earn your keep, because I feel like guys want the quick reward kind of thing. Like, hey, I live in Milwaukee, so I'm only going to go to Cleve Hill, JFK, Maryvale, and, Cleveland Hill. That's it. No, that's not how it works. I feel like, that's how I've grown to have so many good relationships in the organization. So many guys that I text on a daily basis is because I took that trip to Albion with him, on a Tuesday night when it's a blizzard and we're going 20 miles an hour down the 90, that kind of thing. And I feel like that's how you build those relationships, and that takes off on the court. Like you have that hour talk in the car ride there, that you're that much comfortable working with that guy once you take the floor.
Question for you. My last question for you. Since you've reffed so many basketball games, you've been in a lot of different gyms. In Western New York, what's the coolest gym you've officiated a game in? Outside of Buff State and that type of setting, but high school gyms in Western New York. And you can't say West Seneca West, but what's the coolest atmosphere to be in?
Oh, man. There's so many good ones. I have to mention I have the Newfane Wilson rivalry. Awesome. I've had the honor of doing that game a couple times. Great atmosphere. Everybody shows up. So much fun. Niagara Falls, when they built that new gym, and they had, Harris, Gamble, Starks, just to name a few. I mean, they had boatload of talent with the band. I mean, that Niagara Falls band, I mean, kudos to them. That's just awesome. That when, as an official, you get up for those big games, and you get a little jittery. You get excited, like, oh man, this is a big game. It's a good environment. You love it. You love it. It's not the same experience, when that gym is packed and people are screaming at you, maybe if you missed a call or made a bad call. It's just nature of the beast. But, I'm going to say Niagara Falls. When I first started, I had Ken East, Ken West in the pit. And
it's my old school.
Oh my God, that was a big one, and I was a little jittery on that. And I was with Mud McGrath. God bless his soul. He said, "Kid, you're gonna pick me up, and we're gonna go to this game, and everything's gonna be fine." So I said, "Okay." And I had never been in the middle school gym over there. So you come up from underneath, and everybody is just screaming, going nuts. And I remember there was like a hard foul where a kid got pushed, and you kind of go into underneath that cubby there, and everybody's just going nuts. And of course I got the call right, one of the couple, but reffing in that atmosphere was so much fun. It was like one of those things where I walked out and I'm like, that's pretty cool. That was special to be a part of.
So if you were reffing a game in the pit, officiating a game in the pit, Ken West, Ken East, I'm going to say it was either Badgley. It was probably Badgley on the bench for West then.
Might have been.
Because Harvey would have probably been gone by then.
I think it was, yeah. I think it was him.
And so it probably would have been Badgley. I don't think Meats was there just yet. Maybe Badgley. But yeah, growing up in that Ken West, Ken East environment and seeing a basketball game at the pit, there's nothing. I don't know why they can't play at least one game there.
So much fun. Even when I go back, I still ref modified games. I mean, I'll ref a JV game, doesn't matter. When I go back there for a mod game, I'm like, oh man, I remember when this place, and it still has the same look, nothing there. It's just so nostalgic. Like when you walk in there, you're like, man, there used to be
Hickory, man. You could say, Maple Grove's like Hickory. You're like, no, go to the pit. That's like Hoosiers right there. Nothing like
so much fun. So much fun.
I hope the next time they do a gym, all these new gyms are coming. I hope they do something like that. Like get the parents, get the fans above court level, have them looking down. That's just a amazing experience, I think. And I wish a lot of kids would get that experience in high school. It's just go to your basketball games at home are amazing. Especially when you get that crosstown. I was at an East-West game this year.
And how was that?
West basketball game this year at West Seneca East, I believe.
Oh, nice.
We did the call. That was fantastic.
Great rival. Yes.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So your boy Reineck.
Oh, Reineck. Yeah. Stud athlete. Going to Villa Maria next year.
So
really with Coach Dez, Coach Dez does a great job. He was able to so that's awesome.
Yes, he does. All right, man, I'll let you go. We've been talking long enough, and Tom Prince is going to get jealous.
Yeah.
But
I think right now, Frank.
we'll get you on soon again. We got to do one of these round tables. Maybe when we get closer to a decision on what's going to happen for the fall, we'll bring you in.
Absolutely. Frank, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
We didn't get here by accident. It starts with a plan to protect your future, to invest in your future. It started with Scroy Financial. Plan, protect, invest. Scroy Financial.
We needed a plan to protect what matters most. By investing in our future, that all started with Scroy Financial. Plan, protect, invest. Scroy Financial.